Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the Nike Air Foamposite 1 fighter jets. As you guys can see, it comes in this brown Nike sportswear box. I'll give you a quick look at the label here. The official colorway is black, hyper red, dark gray, and white, with the suggested retail price being $235. This is my first ever pair of Foamposites, and for a couple different reasons. One, they're very expensive, so if I'm going to pay that much money for a pair of sneakers, I have to really like them, and I'm a big fan of the fighter jet colorway. I love camo in general, and I think it looks really good on the Foamposite shoe itself. The other reason is I live in Canada, and Foamposite releases are generally pretty hard to come by. A lot of releases get skipped over, and when they do come to Canada, they come in very limited quantities. And there's not very many sneaker stores around me, to be completely honest. Plus, when they do come to Canada as well, there's a crazy markup on these things. They're $235 in the US at retail price, which is already crazy. And then in Canada, they try to sell these things anywhere between $275 and $290. When you add on the tax, they end up being closer to $350, which is, to me, an outrageous price to pay for a pair of sneakers. A lot of people are happy to pay that, but for me, I have to really like something, or really have to justify myself paying $200 for a pair of shoes that realistically I'm just going to be wearing for casual use, or going to be using for casual wear. So I was able to pick these up at American retail. They just took forever to get shipped over, which is why you're seeing this video so late after the actual release. And for those of you that are coming from my soccer channel, I'm sure you've already commented these are ugly or something negative about this shoe, because to the untrained eye, the Foamposite is a weird shoe. Definitely is. Like I said, a lot of you guys are coming from my soccer channel and probably don't know all that much about basketball shoes in general, but like any kind of shoe, whether it be basketball shoes, running shoes, soccer shoes, there are certain shoes. There's lots and lots of shoes that have always been released and that will always be released, but there's certain shoes out of all these releases that have this really have a significance about them that really change the course of all the shoes after them, and the Foamposite 1 is definitely one of those shoes for me. A lot of people, a lot of the older generation like to criticize the younger generation of sneaker collectors, if you will, kind of saying that they're just buying shoes to buy shoes, and there are those people out there. I'd like to think of myself as more of an enthusiast than a collector. I like to get shoes, I like shoes in general, but for me, there has to be somewhat of a backstory behind these retro releases for me to be interested in them. And for me, as a fan of shoes in general and the technology behind them, the Foamposite 1 is a very special release from Nike. Like I said, to me, honestly, it's not the best looking sneaker. I think it looks really good with this fighter jet pattern on there. But as a whole, the Foamposite is, to most people, I would say 9 out of 10 people would say that this is an ugly pair of shoes. just to be completely blatant when saying that. But to me, this is cool because it changed the course of basketball shoes or sneakers in general. Up until, this shoe was actually released in 1997, for those of you that didn't know. It was a Penny Hardaway signature. And up until then, pretty much all sneakers that were released were made out of natural materials, very few synthetics. And when something like this came out, well, first of all, when the actual idea was proposed by Nike designers, they said it couldn't be done, not only from a design standpoint, but the actual materials they want to use, or this Foamposite material, nobody actually had the technology at the time to make it. So they almost scrapped the design as it was. So when it did actually come out, a lot of people hated it. They thought, why are they making synthetic sneakers? Nike's out of their mind. There's no reason to use a synthetic material when you have these perfectly good natural materials. People viewed synthetics as like an inferior material, and basically, if you look at shoes now, pretty much everything is a synthetic. Whether you look at basketball shoes, soccer shoes, running shoes, you're seeing very little natural materials, especially on basketball shoes. Especially if you look back to 1997, where, like I said, pretty much everything was there. Plus, when this shoe came out, it retailed at $180 back in 1997. That's an outrageous amount of money to pay for a pair of sneakers. That's like a shoe that costs $300 today, if you will. And like I said, it wasn't well received at all. It was also very expensive to make. Sorry for the mini history lesson there, but it was very expensive to make. The mold for just the right shoe, not the mold, the tool to make this shoe, costed $750 grand per tool. So if you imagine one tool to make one shoe per size, so you need 2 tools to make one shoe, one pair of shoes in one size. So if we did a size run between size 8 to size 13, that's 11 different sizes, which means you would have to have 22 different tools. At $750,000 a tool would end up being $16.5 million just to be able to have one machine per shoe size to produce these things. So I'm pretty sure that when they first came out, they were in pretty limited quantities, and like I said, it was a failure. So after the shoe had kind of run its course, Nike had actually scrapped the mold altogether, and they thought that they were never going to retro this shoe again. But when it did come back, obviously several years later, when synthetics really caught on, this shoe really showed itself as an innovator for all shoes to follow. And Nike has always been an innovator when it comes to technology and their sports equipment. And the Foamposite 1, to me, really just signifies how modern and futuristic, or ahead of their time, Nike is and was, if you will. This is one of those shoes that I think if it never released in '97 and it released today in 2013, it would still be a modern shoe. And it's going to be a modern shoe for at least the next 20 years, in my opinion, just because it's so out there, it's so spacey. You've probably never seen anything like it if you've never seen if you're not too familiar with the history of basketball shoes. As far as the fighter jet colorway goes, sorry again for the mini history lesson there, but I really am a big fan of the Foamposite concept. I think it's just a really cool idea by Nike, and for that reason I'm a big fan of this shoe. You have that Foamposite material running all throughout the upper, as you guys can see, with that camo pattern on there. It's a combination of that metallic silver, the dark gray, the black, and then the white, and it's actually kind of it's really well done on this shoe. Because of the Foamposite design, it's kind of like a blank canvas, and they can really paint whatever they want on there. And it really does look good with this camo pattern. It really does look cool. And it's actually a mirrored camo. Like, what I mean by that, it's not actually random. If you look at the outside of both of these two shoes, you can see that the pattern is actually pretty much identical on pretty much all parts of the shoe. If you look at the instep on both, the camo runs exactly the same way. It's not completely identical, but it's very, very close. And I was under the impression that it was going to be completely random camo all throughout. No two shoes were going to be the same, but they kind of use the same pattern on both the inside and outside pieces of the Foamposite material. You can see there's a seam right here at the heel, and that one piece wraps all the way around the side of the shoe and then cuts off at this one point at the toe. You can see there's this one little piece, and then again you have one piece there. It goes all the way through there, and then of course wraps right there. The Foamposite material itself is actually something that starts off as a liquid, and it kind of gets injected into this mold and cools off, and it's designed to actually mold to your foot. It's actually stiff from right out of the box, and it still remains stiff, but the inside actually, once you kind of use it a little bit and it kind of starts to heat up, it actually molds to your foot. And that was the idea or the concept behind the Foamposite, to have a custom fit, almost like a hockey skate would be nowadays, which is kind of unusual to me. And again, just part of the reason why this shoe was so ahead of its time. As far as what you're going to find on the laces here, on the sides of the laces running up the sides, you're going to have that black nubuck material. Really does look nice. You have the mesh tongue with that strip of nubuck with the embroidered red line going all the way up the laces. You have the embroidered Nike swoosh right there. You have the one black and red penny logo at the top of the tongue in this little plastic piece. You have this one little loop with the red lightning bolt right there. Sorry for the voice crack. And then of course you have this danger sign right there. On the inside you have where it says no step. And then on the back you have a little pull tab again with that lightning bolt, and then another penny logo. The inside has like this little boot on there. The insole itself is actually red. I'm not sure if you guys are going to be able to see it. Then you actually have the US Air Force logo on the inside. Maybe you guys can see it, hopefully. And then if I look at the other shoe, it actually has a danger sign. It says danger ejection seat, which I think is kind of cool. And again, it's kind of just fits that fighter jet theme. If you look at the bottom of the shoe or peeking around the side, you have this carbon fiber shank, which is painted red. So you have half the carbon fiber is red with the other one just being completely bare. So you have that black and red checker pattern on there, which really does look good. It's a very thick layer of, well, it's not a thick layer of carbon fiber, but it looks really, really raw, really nice. And it's almost like it was handmade as opposed to just being machine made. So it's not actually perfect, which is something that I like about it. And you can see there's like this little layer of plastic that it actually sits on. And that spans pretty much the entire underside of the shoe, or at least through the midfoot anyways. You can see it peeking through the icy sole on here. really is unique. The sole itself is pretty much all clear, translucent sole, and then you can kind of see all the internals on here. You have this red overlay with that herringbone pattern, and then of course you have the black penny logo right there. Just really unique how they built this shoe. Like I said, the design they thought was going to be impossible, not only because of the materials, but how the shoe came together. This shoe was actually required completely unique glues, completely unique midsole design, 5 times stronger than anything else before it. So really was revolutionary as far as advancing the technology used in basketball shoes and just shoes in general. Very cool how they did. They did include these dog tags as well, which I'm not sure I showed you guys yet. They are in metal. You have one that has the penny 1 cent logo. Then the other one actually has his name, his real name, Afrani Hardaway, his birth date, and then where he was born. And then of course it says Nike Foamposite 1. So they are metal. People are complaining about them not being that heavy, and they're not that heavy, but it's an extra that you wouldn't normally get with the shoes, so I'm not really complaining. That's pretty much it as far as the outside of the Foamposites go, as well as a mini history lesson to go along with it. And we'll move on to a quick on feet so you can get a better idea as to how these shoes look. Alright, here's a look at the Foamposites on feet while wearing a pair of shorts. Again, I have them laced up 2 different ways, one left unlaced, one laced up normally. I'm not sure that this is a pair of sneakers that I would personally wear casually with a pair of shorts, probably only with pants, but if you were going to play basketball in them, they are basketball shoes after all. I think they look perfectly fine. Really good looking basketball shoes if you ask me. Definitely has a crazy pattern about them, and that's pretty much it as far as what they look like with a pair of shorts, and we'll move on to what they look like with some pants next. Here's a look at the Foamposites with a pair of pants, again laced up 2 different ways, and I think they look really good. Personally, I would probably wear this colorway with a pair of sweatpants like I have on now, but you could wear them with a pair of jeans, I guess, if you wanted to. Again, it's just a matter of matching up with the rest of what you're wearing. Probably would want some kind of camo to match the shoes themselves. As far as comfort goes on these guys, they're very, very comfortable. Like I said, I've never owned a pair before, but I'm really happy with how comfortable they are. This Foamposite material is just very unique. I don't have particularly wide feet, so I'm not really running into any issues as far as width goes, but there is kind of like a break-in period with these. It is kind of like a heat-activated molding feature on the shoe itself. So if you did have wider feet, they might fit a little bit tight in the width, but like I said, they need some break-in time, and they will feel more comfortable after a couple hours of wear, I'm sure. They definitely do fit true to size as well. I'm wearing my regular size 9.5 US, and that's really the only way that I would recommend wearing these. I wouldn't really buy them to fit big because they're just not going to feel right. When you lace them up tight, they almost feel like a pair of hockey skates in my opinion, which I think is really cool. I've played hockey for a number of years, still do, and I really like the feel of these. Like I said, they feel like hockey skates, which I think is really cool, and I would be very curious to see how they perform while playing basketball or just doing any kind of running, because they just feel so unique, unlike any other pair of sneakers that I've ever worn. I'll give you guys a quick look at the details on here. Just such a unique pair of sneakers. That Foamposite material gives it such a clean surface. They can really print any kind of pattern they want on there, and I think that this fighter jet camo pattern just looks great. But that's pretty much it as far as the on-feet portion of this video goes, and I'll leave you to my final thoughts. Alright guys, that's it for my review plus on-feet video of the Nike Air Foamposite 1 Fighter Jet colorway. Really happy I was able to snag a pair of these for myself, and the Foamposite in general is just an amazing shoe. A shoe that was, and I think still is, ahead of its time. If you do want to see some high quality images of this exact pair here, I will have a link down below in the description that'll take you to the review page on my website, where you will see some high quality images that'll give you a better idea as to what the shoe actually does look like in person, if that does interest you at all. If you do have any questions regarding this sneaker, feel free to drop a comment down below. And if you have any suggestions for other shoes you would like to see me bring in, again, leave a comment down below and I definitely will take a look at it. And if you guys could leave a like on the video as well, it would be greatly appreciated. If you did enjoy today's video, you want to see some more sneaker reviews as well as other lifestyle gear, go ahead and click that subscribe button. And one last thing, I have an Instagram account if you want to follow me there. My Instagram account name is VujoJosh, just like this channel name minus a 2. You can go ahead and look me up, or again, the link can be found down below in the description. Other than that guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.